spiral of light that suddenly appeared over northern Norway. The winding image could be seen for hundreds of miles, fueling speculation that it was anything from alien invaders to a new phenomenon. Alex Marquardt reports from Moscow.
Norwegians were treated to a spectacular light show early Wednesday morning that immediately set tongues wagging, everyone asking what created that giant blue pinwheel in the sky. Speculation has settled firmly on a failed Russian rocket test. Russia's defense ministry has refused to comment, but military sources are telling leading Russian newspapers that there was a test of a Russian Bulava intercontinental ballistic missile that failed yesterday. It had previously been announced that there would be tests of the Bulava in the region between December 7th and 14th, and specifically from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m.
黑河气象局辛苦保存了20年的录像带资料，时间太过久远，图像有些模糊，但是我们可以感受到不明飞行物出现的那个时候，人们心里有多么的激动。从录像中我们可以看到，这是一次无比华丽壮美的夜空奇象，一个光点急速升高，随即旋转扩散，光亮异常。而最为蹊跷的是，发光体旋转的过程中有一次明显的变向。从顺时针忽然转到了逆时针方向，这个让人匪夷所思的变向，是在照片中无法看到的，也是我们在电脑模拟的动画上都没有想象到的。
无意之中拍摄到的一个已经悬了20多年的一个 UFO 的片段，它到底会是什么呢？
You're listening to...
Let's just look at the Large Hadron Collider itself. It's circulating particles at near the speed of light in opposite directions, and that spin, that circular pathways within the 27-kilometer ring, 27-kilometer pathway, causes energy to be thrown out from that circular pathway. And that energy is thrown out in the form of gamma rays and X-rays, the synchrotron energies. This does not occur in a linear accelerator, a straight pathway of particles that are accelerated, only in that circular motion. Now, if we're talking about that as spin and the possibility that it creates a wormhole through which one can travel, theoretically that is possible. And I'm going to leap back into history a little bit to the Nazi Bell, the Bell Project, and they were using spin in the form of oppositely spinning red mercury. Red mercury spun up to extremely high rates of circulation, or RPM, and it was theorized or alleged that the Nazi Bell was a time distortion device. And through the rapid motion of red mercury, it was generating gamma rays and X-rays that then killed many of the initial project scientists, the Nazi scientists, during World War II. And we're seeing that same process, if you will, replicated with the Large Hadron Collider to obviously a massive scale. The theory was, or the story surrounding the Nazi Bell, was that it was a time device and that it was distorting time. So the question, obviously, is does CERN, does the Large Hadron Collider have the same capability, but to a greater extent, to a more refined level? I will say yes, it's definitely feasible that a wormhole can be created. Is it for the traveling back in time or going to the future? No. My summation of this or conclusion is that it is a real-time, a today-based, a real-time travel between dimensions without going back in time or into the future, but staying within the present for that travel between dimensions, or, if you will, locations that are bilocated in the form of supersymmetry and also comprising of quantum entanglement. And I'll stop there.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. It reminds me of the, most people are familiar with the Norway spiral, and I think that was back in 2009. And it was a really interesting phenomenon. And even biblically, the discussion of whirlwinds, that come out from heaven, 2 Kings 2 talks about how Elijah was taken up by a whirlwind. And, if you think about what a whirlwind is, it's sort of a spin type of situation. Perhaps it was describing some sort of wormhole even back then, which is interesting to contemplate. But I'm sort of at a loss of where to take it. But
spin type situation.
Spin type situation.
Let me see if I can help you with this. Let's talk about Saturn.
Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the cars.
You're right. Although we've got all the symbology.
Yep.
Now, we can get into the ancient myths related to Saturn, but just focus on the physics. And to talk about wormholes, let's take it to maybe something that's a little closer to home, and that is Saturn. It is my hypothesis, based upon looking at the ancient myths, looking at the Thunderbolts project with the previous alignment and close proximity of Saturn to Earth. It's apparent to me that the agenda with CERN is to reconnect electrically using a plasma conduit, reconnect to the southern pole of Saturn. You mentioned the spiral over Norway. There is an identical spiral located at the southern pole of Saturn. The spiral over Norway was generated by the Large Hadron Collider. The spiral at the southern pole of Saturn is generated by another synchrotron particle accelerator, a, quote, naturally occurring one, at the northern pole of Saturn. And you may recall seeing the images from NASA and the Hubble telescope of the northern pole being a hexagon, a hexagonal shape. And interestingly, contained within that hexagon are two oppositely moving clouds of energy, particles. Think about the Nazi bell, the red Mercury spinning in opposite directions. Same thing is happening to the North Pole as is happening with the Large Hadron Collider, an extension of the Nazi bell. The Large Hadron Collider is a synchrotron particle accelerator. So is the North Pole of Saturn on a massive scale. And it is connecting from the North Pole to the South Pole within the gaseous body of Saturn. It is connecting the two poles by using electric plasma in the form of a helical shape that looks like DNA, a helical plasma conduit connecting north and south. Now, you take the southern pole of Saturn, you create a identical helical shaped plasma conduit, electrical plasma connection between the southern pole of Saturn and the Large Hadron Collider, and you have reconnected the two planets in an identical fashion as existed during the Golden Age.
Oh, that is so cool. You hear about the multiverse and in other universes, all these crazy things may exist, but the fact that that exists is the most mind-blowing thing I've ever heard. Now, why do you think this isn't public knowledge? Like, why is this not a thing? I feel like that should be a pretty well-known fact if we basically can create I don't know, if I understand you correctly, a wormhole to Saturn.
Well, that goes to the hidden agenda.
Have a big mystery on their hands, a giant spiral of light that suddenly appeared over northern Norway. The winding image could be seen for hundreds of miles, fueling speculation that it was anything from alien invaders to a new phenomenon. Alex Marquardt reports from Moscow.
Norwegians were treated to a spectacular light show early Wednesday morning that immediately set tongues wagging, everyone asking what created that giant blue pinwheel in the sky. Speculation has settled firmly on a failed Russian rocket test. Russia's defense ministry has refused to comment, but military sources are telling leading Russian newspapers that there was a test of a Russian Bulava intercontinental ballistic missile that failed yesterday. It had previously been announced that there would be tests of the Bulava in the region between December 7th and 14th, and specifically from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m.
黑河气象局辛苦保存了20年的录像带资料，时间太过久远，图像有些模糊，但是我们可以感受到不明飞行物出现的那个时候，人们心里有多么的激动。从录像中我们可以看到，这是一次无比华丽壮美的夜空奇象。一个光点急速升高，随即旋转扩散，光亮异常。而最为蹊跷的是，发光体旋转的过程中有一次明显的变向，从顺时针忽然转到了逆时针方向。这个让人匪夷所思的变向，是在照片中无法